Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Derek Hartman had built his career as a corporate contracts lawyer at one of Portland, Oregon's most respected firms. At 38, he'd earned a solid reputation defending tech companies in complex commercial disputes. His routine was predictable. He woke up at 6, dropped his twin daughters off at school before heading to his downtown office, then returned home to Lake Oswego, a quiet suburb where they lived in a 2-story house with a well-kept yard. Lauren, his wife of 12 years, was a marketing manager at a growing cosmetics company. At 35, she kept a packed schedule, coordinating ad campaigns and managing a team of 6. Derek always admired her dedication to work and how she managed to balance her career with mothering Sophie and Emma, their 9-year-old twins who brought joy to the home. Life felt complete, harmonious, without major upheavals. Lauren had a habit of going out once a month with her coworkers for what she called Girls' Night. These were dinners at fancy restaurants in downtown Portland, moments she described as essential to unwind from office pressure. Derek never questioned these outings. He trusted Lauren completely and used those nights to spend quality time with the girls, watching Disney movies or putting together complicated puzzles. That October Friday had been especially exhausting for Derek. He'd spent 9 hours negotiating the terms of a merger between 2 startups. When he got home at 7, Lauren was already getting ready to go. She was wearing a black dress he didn't remember seeing before, high heels, and makeup more elaborate than usual. Her blonde hair fell in perfect waves over her shoulders. "You look beautiful," Derek said, lightly kissing her cheek. "Where are you all going tonight?" "That new Italian place near Pioneer Square," Lauren replied, checking her bag. "Amanda is dying to try it. Have fun. Don't stay out too late, okay?" Lauren smiled, but Derek noticed something strange in her eyes, a tension he couldn't place. She kissed the twins goodbye and rushed out. Derek made popcorn, put on a Toy Story movie, and settled between them on the couch. Around 10 p.m., with the girls finally asleep in their rooms, Derek went down to the kitchen for a beer. He sat in the living room and idly picked up his phone to check social media. That's when he saw the notification. Lauren had posted a photo on Instagram 15 minutes earlier. The photo showed Lauren smiling, seated at a stylish restaurant table with soft lighting and classic Italian decor. Beside her were Amanda and Christina, 2 coworkers Derek knew only vaguely. All 3 held glasses of red wine and posed for the camera. The caption read, "Girls' Night Nail Polish Sparkles." Derek was about to like it when something caught his eye. Behind the 3 women was a tall window with slightly darkened glass. In the reflection of that window, Derek made out something that made his heart stop. He zoomed in, and what he saw left him frozen. In the clear reflection, unmistakably visible, was the silhouette of a man in a suit seated at the same table as the 3 women. He wasn't at another nearby table. The angle of the reflection, the position of his arm, all of it indicated he was sitting with them. Derek felt his blood turn cold. He zoomed in further. The man had dark hair slicked back, wore a sharply tailored dark gray suit, and held a wine glass. Even through the reflection, Derek could see a large, noticeable watch on his left wrist. But what disturbed him most was the man's posture. He was leaning toward Lauren, in an intimate way. Derek's mind, trained for years in legal practice to analyze evidence and spot inconsistencies, began processing the situation at high speed. Why would Lauren post a photo saying, "Girls' Night," if there was a man sitting with them? Why had that detail been deliberately left out? Questions exploded in his head like fireworks, each one revealing another layer of suspicion and pain. Derek took several screenshots of the image, mentally cataloging every detail the way he would evidence in a case. His hands trembled as he held the phone. He felt a toxic mix of anger, confusion, and something close to panic. He wasn't the type to ignore concrete evidence. And this damning reflection, was impossible to ignore. Without hesitation, Derek called Amanda. The phone rang 4 times before she answered, and he could hear loud music and chatter in the background. Derek? Hi. You okay? Her voice sounded forced, almost nervous. Amanda, I need you to be honest with me. Who's the man sitting at the table with you? Silence. A long, telling silence. What man? It's just the 3 of us here. Amanda, don't play dumb. I saw the reflection in the window of the photo Lauren posted. There's a man in a suit sitting with you. Who is he? More silence. Then Amanda began stammering, making up a confused story about a colleague who just showed up. Derek, with years of experience interrogating witnesses and spotting lies, immediately recognized the falseness in her voice. He hung up without another word. He didn't need to hear any more lies. The truth was as clear as crystal. Derek rushed upstairs, grabbed his wallet and car keys, knocked on the door next door where Mrs. Patterson, their elderly neighbor who adored the twins, lived. She answered in a robe, surprised by the late-night visit. Mrs. Patterson, I need a huge favor. Can you stay with the girls for a few hours? They're asleep. I've got a personal emergency. The concern on Derek's face must have been obvious. Mrs. Patterson agreed immediately without asking questions. Derek was already heading out the garage door. He got into his black Honda Accord and pressed the accelerator hard. During the 25-minute drive into downtown Portland, Derek's mind raced. He recognized the restaurant by its distinctive chandelier. It was Osteria Bella Vista, an expensive, romantic spot in the Pearl District. As he drove, waves of anger and sadness washed over him. 12 years of marriage. 12 years of mutual trust, building a life together, raising 2 beautiful daughters. All of it might be crumbling because of one lie. He parked a half block away from the restaurant and sat for a few seconds, trying to steady his breathing. Part of him wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation. But the rational part knew exactly what that reflection meant. Lie. Betrayal. Deliberate deception. Derek stepped out of the car and walked with purpose. The facade was elegant, with tall, lit windows. He pushed through the door and stepped inside. The atmosphere was exactly as it appeared in the photo, soft golden lighting, white tablecloths, quiet Italian jazz playing in the background. A young hostess approached with a smile, but Derek didn't even look at her. His eyes had already found their target. At a corner table near one of the tall windows, Lauren sat with her 2 friends and the man from the reflection. She was laughing loudly, head tilted back slightly, holding her wine glass. The man, dark hair, gray suit, noticeable watch, had his hand casually resting on the back of Lauren's chair, almost touching her bare shoulder. Derek crossed the dining room with firm steps. Several people turned to look, sensing the unusual energy he carried. There was something in his posture, in his fixed gaze, that made others realize something important was about to happen. Amanda saw Derek first. Her face drained of color instantly. She nudged Lauren discreetly, and Lauren turned around. When her eyes met Derek's, her face froze in pure horror. Her wine glass slipped slightly, spilling a few red drops onto the white tablecloth. Lauren stood up abruptly, knocking over her chair. Derek? What are you doing here? Derek stopped exactly 1 meter from the table. He looked first at Christina, who immediately looked away. Then at Amanda, who looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. Then at the man in the suit, now also standing, clearly uncomfortable. Finally, Derek locked eyes with Lauren. Girls' night, Lauren? His voice was low, controlled, but laced with sharp intensity. Interesting concept. Tell me one thing, since when does girls' night include men in suits? Lauren opened her mouth but no sound came out. Tears began forming in her eyes. Because here's the thing, Derek continued, pulling his phone from his pocket and opening the saved photo, showing it to everyone at the table. when I saw this beautiful picture you posted on Instagram with that cute caption about girls' night, I almost liked it. Until I noticed one interesting detail. He zoomed in and showed the reflection in the window. This reflection here. This reflection that clearly shows a man in a suit sitting with you. Funny how technology reveals truths we'd rather keep hidden, isn't it? The silence that followed was absolute. Other tables around them began to notice the drama, and conversations stopped. The man in the suit swallowed hard and tried to speak. "Look, man, I think you're misunderstanding." "You think?" Derek turned to him. "Then help me understand. Who are you, and why are you at a girls' night my wife promised would be just her and her friends?" The man hesitated, glanced at Lauren as if seeking permission, and Derek felt the stab of confirmation. That look said everything. "I'm Bradley Carson. I'm the director of sales at the company where Lauren works." "Director of sales." Derek repeated the words slowly. "And you regularly join the girls' nights, Bradley?" Bradley didn't answer. Lauren, now crying openly, tried to touch Derek's arm. "Derek, please, can we talk about this at home?" "Not here." Derek pulled away from her touch as if burned. "No. Here. Now. In front of him. In front of them." He pointed to Amanda and Christina. "In front of everyone who needs to see who you really are." "Derek, you're making a scene," Lauren whispered desperately. "I'm making a scene?" Derek's voice rose for the first time. "Me? You lied to me, Lauren. You posted a public photo mocking me, pretending you were at some innocent night while you were here with him. You didn't just betray me, you humiliated me publicly. And I'm the one making a scene?" Tears streamed down Lauren's perfectly made-up face, leaving dark trails of mascara. "It's not what you think. So tell me what it is, Lauren. Tell me how long you've been seeing Bradley here." Derek crossed his arms. "Tell me how long you've been using our daughters as alibis for your dates with him." Bradley finally spoke, his voice low. "Look, it started 6 months ago. At the Seattle conference. We didn't plan it, it just happened, and 6 months. Derek felt the floor drop from under his feet for a second, but he held his composure. 6 months you've been lying to me. 6 months kissing our daughters goodnight and sleeping in my bed after being with him." Lauren was sobbing uncontrollably now. "Derek, I love you. I love our girls. It was a terrible mistake, I was going to end it, I swear." "You were going to end it?" Derek let out a humorless laugh. "When? After how many more girls' nights? After how many more lies posted on Instagram?" He looked around the table, at half-eaten plates of pasta, expensive wine glasses, decorative candles. "Are you all enjoying yourselves? I hope so, because this was the last time." He turned back to Lauren. "When you get home, if you get home, your things will be in the garage. I already messaged Steve Cooperman. You remember him? My partner, the divorce specialist. He'll be waiting for your call on Monday." Lauren tried to grab his arm. "No, please, Derek, think about the girls." Derek turned to her one last time. "I think about the girls every single day. And that's why I won't let them grow up thinking it's normal to lie, to betray, to humiliate the people you're supposed to love. They deserve to see that actions have consequences." He stepped back, looked at Bradley. "And you? I hope it was worth it. Because when HR finds out the director of sales is having an affair with a subordinate, I'm sure they'll love the legal implications of that." Bradley paled. Derek didn't wait for a response. He turned and walked toward the exit under the fixed gaze of dozens of people. Behind him, he heard Lauren crying loudly, calling his name, but he didn't look back. Outside, the cold October night hit him like a slap. Derek walked quickly to his car, got in, and locked the doors. Only then, in the privacy of the black Honda Accord parked on a dark Portland street, did he let the reality fully hit him. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. He didn't cry, not yet, but he felt a physical ache in his chest. He didn't know how long he sat there. At some point, his phone buzzed insistently. It was Lauren, calling over and over. He turned it off. Then he took a deep breath, started the car, and drove home. Mrs. Patterson was still there, reading a book in the living room. She looked at Derek, and with the wisdom of someone who'd lived many decades, asked no questions. The girls slept peacefully, she said softly. "Thank you, Mrs. Patterson." After she left, he slowly climbed the stairs, peeked into the twins' room. Sophie and Emma were sleeping deeply, unaware of the earthquake that had just shattered the foundation of their family. Derek felt a lump in his throat. How was he going to explain this to them? He went back down, entered his office on the first floor, and turned on the computer. He sent an email to Steve Cooperman, his partner and one of Oregon's top divorce attorneys, explaining the situation and requesting an urgent meeting for Monday. Then he opened iCloud, accessed the shared photo account he and Lauren had, and began searching for evidence. It didn't take long. There were automatic sync messages, text conversations between Lauren and a contact saved only as B. The messages were explicit, romantic, intimate. They dated back months. Derek took screenshots of everything. Then he saved the Instagram photo with the revealing reflection, created a password-protected folder, and organized all the evidence methodically. Years of legal work had taught him emotion was the enemy of results. He needed to be strategic, rational, think long-term. Around 2 a.m., he heard the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Lauren. She tried to open the front door, but Derek had locked it from the inside with the security chain. He heard persistent knocking, growing more desperate. "Derek, please. Let me in. We need to talk." He didn't respond. He just sat in the dark office, listening to her beg for nearly 20 minutes until she finally gave up. Derek heard her car pull away, and only then did he close his eyes. The days that followed were a blur of legal procedures and difficult conversations. Derek officially hired Steve and filed for divorce in Multnomah County Court. Oregon was a no-fault divorce state, meaning technically the affair didn't affect asset division, but Derek used all the evidence to strengthen his custody case. He argued that Lauren had demonstrated prolonged deceptive behavior, repeatedly lying and using the girls as alibis, proving poor judgment and instability that could affect the children's upbringing. Meanwhile, Derek decided to strategically make the evidence public. He found out Bradley Carson was married with 3 children. He created an anonymous email and sent screenshots of Lauren and Bradley's conversations to Bradley's wife and the company's HR department. The bomb exploded within days. Bradley was fired after an internal investigation confirmed an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, violating company policy. His marriage collapsed publicly. Lauren repeatedly tried to speak with Derek. She called, texted, showed up at the house, sent letters. All were ignored or answered only through lawyers. She begged for a second chance, said she'd completely ended things with Bradley, that she was in therapy, that she'd do anything. Derek remained firm. Trust, once broken so completely, couldn't be rebuilt. The divorce process took 6 months. Derek secured primary custody of Sophie and Emma, with Lauren granted supervised visitation initially, until she demonstrated emotional stability. The house, which had been in Derek's name since before the marriage thanks to a family inheritance, remained entirely his. Assets were divided per Oregon law, but Derek, with his superior legal knowledge and evidence that damaged Lauren's character, secured a favorable settlement. Lauren, shattered by the loss of her family, public exposure, and damage to her professional reputation, had to start from scratch. She rented a small apartment on Portland's east side, lost the promotion she was about to receive, and faced the silent judgment of colleagues and friends. Bradley, in an even worse situation, moved to another city after his divorce and couldn't land a job at any reputable company in the industry. A year after the fateful night at Osteria Bella Vista, Derek was in a completely different place. He'd obsessively focused on being the best possible father to Sophie and Emma. The girls, initially confused and sad about the separation, began adjusting to the new reality. They spent alternating weekends with Lauren, who had finally earned unsupervised visitation after 6 months of verified therapy and stable behavior. Derek made some changes in his life. He reduced his hours at the office to be more present with his daughters. He started therapy to process the betrayal and rebuild his capacity to trust. He made new friends through a monthly group for divorced dads. Slowly, piece by piece, he rebuilt his life without Lauren at its center. He never looked at that Instagram photo again, the one Lauren had deleted in panic hours after the confrontation, but which Derek had saved as evidence. It was stored in his divorce files, a permanent record of the moment his life changed completely. The image was burned into his memory, Lauren smiling, the false caption, and that revealing reflection in the window. Sometimes, on quiet nights after the girls were asleep, Derek found himself thinking about that moment. About how a single photo, one accidental reflection, had exposed a truth that might have stayed hidden much longer. About how he'd had the courage to confront it immediately, without prolonging the agony. His impulsive nature, which Lauren had often criticized, had ended up being his salvation. He learned valuable lessons. He learned that trust is as fragile as glass, and once broken, leaves permanent scars. He learned that lies always find a way to surface, sometimes in window reflections, other times in accidentally sent messages, but they always surface. And he learned that self-respect and dignity are more important than clinging to a relationship destroyed by betrayal. Sophie and Emma grew up healthy and happy, surrounded by their father's unconditional love and regular visits with their mother, who was slowly rebuilding her relationship with them. Derek never spoke ill of Lauren in front of them, never dragged them into adult conflict. He knew that no matter what Lauren had done to him, she was still their mother. On an autumn afternoon, exactly 1 year and 2 months after that fateful Friday, Derek was at the park with the twins, pushing them on the swings as they screamed, "Higher, Daddy, higher," and laughed with the pure joy of childhood. The sun was setting, painting the Portland sky in shades of orange and pink. He looked at his daughters and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, genuine peace. It wasn't the life he'd imagined. It wasn't the intact family, the Sunday dinners, the family vacations he'd dreamed of. But it was an honest life, built on truth instead of lies, on dignity instead of humiliation. And that, Derek realized as he listened to Sophie and Emma's laughter echo through the park, was infinitely more valuable than any illusion of happiness built on deceit. The photo remained archived somewhere, a digital artifact of a closed chapter. Derek never needed to see it again. The lesson was learned, that truth always finds light, even if it's only through an accidental reflection in a restaurant window. And that having the courage to face that truth immediately, without hesitation, was the first step toward healing and rebuilding a life worthy of being lived. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.